Coming up on The Weekend View, Beyonce's mom, Tina Knowles, tells Oprah the biggest lesson she learned about relationships and herself after 2 divorces. Why a marriage counselor says taking a month-long sabbatical from being a wife helped save her relationship, and how George Clooney swears that he and his wife hadn't had a single argument after 10 years of wedded bliss. Really? It all starts now on The Weekend View.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Weekend View. That's right, that's right. So, George Clooney, so cute. He was just on CBS Mornings promoting his play Good Night and Good Luck, which is about the legendary journalist Edward R. Murrow. But it really sounds like George is pushing some fake news here, in my opinion. Watch.
Amal and I, I remember we were here with you once before, and remember we said we'd never had an argument. We still haven't.
You still haven't?
No, we're trying to find something to fight about. I feel so extraordinarily lucky to have met this incredible woman. And I feel as if I hit the jackpot. And there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think I'm the luckiest man in the world.
Oh, God. Notice the faint applause because this audience doesn't buy it. My point is that if you don't get divorced, you're stuck still with the same person. You've got to have arguments with that person. I'm sorry, I can't believe that.
Joy, if you're married to George Clooney, who sold his company for $1 billion and lives in Lake Como, maybe you can't find something to argue about.
And Amal's nothing to scoff at either. One of the most beautiful women on the planet.
You make it sound like if you have a lot of money, you're not going to have a fight.
A lot of fights are about money.
But I see this a little bit differently.
The fights are about money, kids, and sex.
And they have kids.
Yeah.
But I see it differently. I don't think they're saying they've never had a disagreement or maybe an argument. I think they mean like a blowout fight that's substantive.
That's what I was wondering, is what they call an argument.
Because they got married a little later. He was 53, she was 36. And I think when you go into a relationship later in life, you line up, these are my priorities, this is what I want, this is what we want together, and you decide to go into it with those agreements. A lot of the things that lead to blowout fights are things that happen because you weren't on the same page in the first place.
Let me disagree.
You're a passionate person.
As is my husband. We've been married 26 years. Thank you. 26 years. And we used to have knockout, drag-out fights, especially during the first 10 years. 26 years in, I've given up on fighting.
So it doesn't work. It doesn't pay to fight.
It's just not worth it. So I say, I'm sorry. And then he'll say something like, you didn't mean that. And I go, no, but I said it. Isn't that what you want?
Let's move on.
I say, okay, you win. But he's so used to losing an argument.
Okay, but that you win sounded...
No, but you
sounded
win.
inauthentic.
But it is.
You win.
No, she's admitting it is. She's just saying I said the part. Let's go.
You win. Because I don't want to argue. So I do wonder if Amal, who is an attorney and very accomplished, is just like, you know what? You win. and she's just not arguing.
I questioned right away what they meant by that, because I think arguments, and in fact, I read this recently, they're a sign of growth in relationships. You're going to have two people.
I had a lot of growth.
Yeah. But it's funny because I'm in my first 10 years, and there are a lot of times we don't go all out screaming, yelling.
There's no shrieking?
No, I used to shriek on exes, though. That explains a lot.
Yeah.
But with Max, no. But there's a lot of disagreements, especially when you bring kids in.
The kids.
Because
do you do the silent treatment?
I'm not. No, because I tend to think I'm the one that's like, let's talk now. And sometimes you need to let it breathe. Like, sometimes you need to
You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if they have a driver. Because instead of like George or her driving, because I feel like when I'm in the car with Al, he's going to kill me.
I have
I need to tell him, you've got to stop driving like this. And
I wish he would just either decide to pay attention to Waze or to ignore Waze.
Yes.
Some days he's Waze's bitch, okay? And then the next minute it's like, I'm not listening to her. So then he starts yelling at people who are cutting him off, and I'm the only one who hears him. You say, so I can't. The road rage has got to stop.
But you don't argue, right?
We don't really argue that much.
No. Do you say you win?
No, we just don't.
Don't you remember when you opened the box of the gift that he got you, and you opened the gift before?
Oh, Christmas.
And he was very upset?
Why? Because I opened it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it wasn't addressed to you, Joy.
Oh, so what?
But you probably apologized for it, right? Like, who cares?
No, I did not.
But what I'm hearing is most of us don't get in blowout fights. We have disagreements. But I think that there's something to that, like as you mature in your relationship.
They are arguing. I promise you.
Sometimes arguing shows that there's still a spark.
Yeah.
Ooh, right?
They're either arguing and he's not admitting it, or she is arguing and she's like, okay.
But I also don't think he sits around. Amal sounds magical, and I think she is. But it feels like such a canned answer. Like, I sit around and feel grateful. Like, I feel grateful for life. I feel grateful for health. I don't think anyone sits around and just sits there and thinks the person they're with is like everything they've ever asked for in this world.
If you're at that house in Lake Como sitting next to Amal Clooney, you're going to feel pretty happy.
Yeah.
Or George,
Maybe
either.
it's just unrelatable.
Well, okay, so if your marriage isn't as perfect as George and Amal, would you ever consider this? Marriage therapist Leah Fisher has a new book called My Marriage Sabbatical. In it, she writes about taking a temporary leave from all her wifely duties at the age of 60. She moved into her own apartment, traveled the world, and focused on personal growth.
How long was the sabbatical?
She said it ended up helping her marriage, she said.
I don't believe that.
Would you do that? Would you do that?
Oh, I love the sabbatical part. I think of it less as taking a break from marriage and more just remembering, like, who we are underneath all the hats we wear. You know, like going to do things that are filling you up.
Yeah.
You know, because you're more than a parent, you're more than a wife,
You know,
you're more than...
One of the most interesting things about this story that I read is that the woman, she allowed her husband to have his dalliances.
And that's why it doesn't work.
Because she then later regretted it.
And she did regret it later.
So it screwed up their marriage.
Because she said, go, enjoy yourself with another woman.
Stupid.
And he said, okay.
Why would she say
Because he caught feelings for the other one.
So that didn't work that way.
It doesn't work. Dr. Ruth said.
Yeah.
You don't invite people
You don't invite a third person into your marriage.
What about
never
into
do
your
that.
bed?
Especially not into your bed.
No, it's very eat, pray, love. It's better on the screen than in real life. If you're wanting to get away from your partner and you're allowing them to be with someone else, that's basically a separation. That's just a step ahead of divorce.
I'm about to get a 3-day sabbatical this weekend because the NFL draft is on, and Al doesn't blink, he doesn't talk, he doesn't. This is all he does.
3 days. I think that people do need what my friend Vinny used to say, quality time apart.
Yeah.
Okay, quality time apart, but then do you then say to your partner, and have fun with whoever you want to have fun with?
No, see, that's the difference.
You don't have quality time apart. You and Steve are together all the time.
But he's on one side of the apartment, I'm on this side. I mean, it's really easy if you have 2 bedrooms, you can handle that.
Yeah.
You never see each other. It's great.
So
in a new interview, Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, told Oprah what going through 2 divorces and raising 2 kids taught her about herself. Watch.
You say, mothering someone is such an important job. You naturally put yourself on the back burner, wanting to do so well that you end up losing yourself.
Mm-hmm. If I was in the middle of something that I really wanted to do and my girls called me, I would drop whatever, whomever, and be right there. And so I felt like I had to have that talk with them to warn them. And I was scared of how they would react because, you know, you guys know mothers are kind of taken. My kids are wonderful. They acknowledge me. They love me. They would do anything for me. But they do, it's a kid's nature to be a little self-centered. But I told them, and surprisingly, they said, Mom, we're so happy to hear that because, you know, they were excited for me. They weren't pissed off about it. They were actually excited that I was going to have my own life.
Okay, so whether it's deferring to husbands or kids, why do so many women put their own needs on the back burner, you know?
Well, isn't that what being a mom is? I mean, once you become a mother, in my view, once you become a mother, you are never first. You have to put this other human being before you.
Yeah, but they say that you have to put your husband first.
I don't agree with that.
I do. I actually do agree with that. We haven't gotten to that phase yet, but Oprah once did an amazing show, and the whole thing starts with a woman that writes an article saying, it's just to catch eyes. I love my husband more than my children. And they put her in the center of the stage.
We talked about that.
Yes. And then there are women out here. So it sets the whole show up and everyone's like, oh my God, you're awful. by the end, you start to see the martyrdom of these mothers that they were like watching TV while their husbands are having sex with all this stuff. The love for the children comes from the parents, and your partner will be there when your kids leave. So if you do not honor and love that person and continue to work on that relationship, what did you do it for?
Well, but who says that you have to put your husband first? I don't know.
It's about putting the Bible. It's about
does say
honoring.
that.
Yeah, it's the marriage.
The marriage
Not just
must,
the Bible. A lot of marriage
other
counselors
books
will
that
tell
Joy
you that.
reads.
the marriage must. The marriage. I do agree with the premise that your marriage is the foundation for your entire family, right? So, and you model what love is for your children, but. Part of that is also giving of yourself. And so when you become a wife and a mother, unfortunately, part of the deal is that you're no longer.
You know something I want to highlight that
self-centered.
she did. She talked and she said it was a struggle for her when she decided to do this. She shared that she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and part of the reason she hadn't. She got the breast cancers because she missed the mammogram a year because she got busy. She was taking care of all these other things.
Happens to a lot of women.
And I really appreciate she shared it because Black women, Latina women, are more likely to die of breast cancer than any other ethnic group. So it's a very good thing. Yeah. It's a very good lesson you take from Tina Knowles.
Let her listen.
Well, I was going to say, as a kid of divorce, I do generally agree that the relationship is kind of the model for the kids, but when it falls apart, I think I listened to this and I thought of my own mother so much. Literally just put herself first. Like I think 15 years of my life, she didn't do anything for herself. It was about making sure her kids had the best experiences. She guarded me and shielded me from so much bad stuff that was going on around me that I wasn't even aware of. And the kids then have an appreciation down the road. Like they realize how much they sacrifice. But then moms deserve on the other side to get time for themselves.
Well, you got to remember those moms are someone's daughters. So when you look at your own daughter and you look at how you handle, you're also modeling how life should look. I want my kids to know you need to take care of yourself. You need to protect yourself. You can't do anything well in this world if you don't put your life mask on first.
There's two things I could say here. One of them is, once you have a kid, you feel guilty about everything. So, why did you bring this child into the world? You have to pay attention to what you did. That's my Italian-American upbringing.
You do, but you want to find the balance of them not feeling they're the center of the entire world.
And what's the second thing?
And the second thing is when I was nursing a baby, my baby.
It was a child.
Just any baby.
Although I'm available for other babies. But when I was nursing, I used to think, I'd get up, the kid would be like, crying. And I needed to take care of myself first in order for me to be calm and be able to do it. So in that, it's almost like a metaphor for taking care of yourself, you know? You have to feed yourself first, and then the baby can suck on your boobie. And then daddy is back there somewhere in a different room.
That's how we got here.
We'll be right back.
The Weekend View is sponsored by Rock Skincare, clinically proven.
A woman started a raging debate on Reddit when she wrote that she kicked her weekend house guests out 11 hours before their flight. She told her friends they had to leave on Sunday because she was taking Monday to rest. But they switched their flight to late Monday night because it was cheaper. So she said, you can leave your luggage, but you're on your own for the day. You follow this? Some Reddit users called her a horrible friend. Others had her back. Would you give your house guests a check-out time, my dears?
This is very poor form by her friends. I think you have to set expectations if you're staying with somebody. Like, you have to say, we're leaving at this time. If maybe plans change, your flight gets canceled, and you say, hey, can we stay longer? But just assuming, she apparently took a day off of work to, like, refresh afterward.
She'd been a tour guide the whole weekend.
But I probably would have lied and make up an excuse like, oh, I have a doctor's appointment, you have to be out, just to preserve the friendship.
But if you know she even took a day off from work and you know you've moved your flight for money, maybe you say, would you mind if we left the... You don't expect something from someone who's opened their home to you.
I think that when you're hosting somebody in your house, you have the right to ask them when they're coming and when they're leaving.
And how to do that?
Huh?
How do you do it?
How do you do that? Yeah.
Oye, cuando tú vienes y cuando te vas. You know, except if it's like, you know, your parent or something. Don't you remember Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm? JB's move was like the guest that never left.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen to you.
I have that happen to me. I do. I have people that say that they're going to stay for a couple of weeks, and then like 2 years later, they're still living.
2 years.
Yeah, I had
your parents. So who else?
No, I had a friend whose daughter was supposed to be in New York for like a summer internship.
Yeah.
And then she liked New York so much, she just asked me if she could stay.
She liked Sunny's
And I
guest room
said
so
yes,
much.
and so she stayed for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, Joy, you kicked me out of your house.
No, but that was a party. She brings this up. She brings this up all the time. She and her 20 million friends that she brings to a
10.
party. Okay, 10.
Maybe 12.
Okay, 12 people. That already is a bit much, I think.
It was obnoxious.
Okay, so you bring your 12 friends.
I did.
Fine. I was very
You
nice
told me
about
I
that.
could bring as many people as I wanted.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
I lied.
Yeah.
But
said
let's
that.
just say
said
that
that.
it was okay.
She didn't think it was going to be 12.
Okay, let's say I said it was okay. That's fine with me. I have some hors d'oeuvres, lots of wine, lots of booze,
Yeah, we
whatever you
ate,
want.
drank.
Okay, so they start talking.
Sherry Shepherd says
and-
you don't have food in your house.
No,
up.
she has food.
So anyway, they're downstairs having
were.
a good time with each
We
other.
were having a great time
and
with
I get
you,
tired.
too.
I don't know them that well, and I'm tired already. It's like 9 o'clock. I'm ready to watch Law and Order reruns, and I want to go to bed. So
left.
I just leave.
She left.
in my own house.
I love an Irish exit. I totally
It's an
respect
Irish
that.
exit.
She
Yeah.
left me.
But you were having
And I don't
fun.
think you
You
take down
didn't-
the
I was
energy.
extraneous to the party.
No,
didn't
you were
need
the
me.
host of the
But
party.
she didn't kick you out. She
Yeah.
Well, she never invited me again.
She
I don't
kicked
think.
herself out.
That's not true. You always are invited to my house.
You kicked yourself out.
I did. I kicked myself out of the house. Okay.
All right.
Anybody else have anything to say on this topic? No. Okay. We'll be right back.
The Weekend View is sponsored by Rock Skincare, clinically proven.
And we're back. So I had my weekly sit down with Brian on the Behind the Table podcast this week. So here's a clip.
We have another question from someone in New York. I was on TikTok just now, and I saw a clip of Joy hosting the Mob Wives reunion.
Oh, yeah.
I have
That was
to say,
several years ago.
It was the funniest thing in the world. My question is, how did this opportunity come about, and what memories do you have from that experience?
I don't know how it came about. They just asked me to do it. Mm-hmm. And I had not really watched the show previous to that, but then I started boning up and I watched it a little bit. And, you know, those women were hostile a little bit towards each other. They would get into arguments, and I was sitting there. I thought maybe one of them would hit me, maybe by mistake.
Right.
But, you know, I get those women. I grew up with women like that. Whether they were actual mob wives, no, not necessarily. But they were that style of female.
Yeah,
I
sure.
grew up in an Italian neighborhood.
No, I mean, you know, even watching The Sopranos, you think about people you grew up with
Yeah.
that had nothing to do with the mafia,
No.
but they have certain affectations,
Yeah,
I think,
that's
that
right.
feels
That's right.
similar.
You ever see on TikTok or whatever?
Yeah.
These little Italian kids talking. Mm-hmm. They're hilarious.
Yeah.
They're just like their mothers.
Yes.
Well,
that's where you get it from.
Little kids like that. It's
Yeah.
hysterical. So what I noticed is that Brian has a better angle for the camera than I do.
I need all the help I can get.
He
It's
has
a
a good
different
angle.
situation.
I mean, I need a new angle, okay?
Okay, we'll work on it.
So there was a moment during that Mob Wives reunion where I was a little worried I was going to get whacked. I did. I got scared for a
Wow.
second. I think they have that.
What are you doing? What do you want to do? Why don't we just fight? You want to fight? Anyway, all we're doing is we're going to talk about it. The same way you try to block her. True. What you when you've never even been there? What's true? We don't have.
Drita, can you? Drita.
This is why it's going like
You
this.
do this in front of a grown woman who doesn't need. She didn't come here for us to act like animals.
No, I didn't. They were just.
Oh my God, Joy, your face alone.
They meant it.
Oh
They were
my
not
gosh.
kidding those women.
That was hilarious.
I was scared.
You remind me
scared.
of the therapist in The Sopranos. You're just there with your like glasses.
I have it, and I had
What
it.
was going through your mind?
Well, I was thinking these girls are going to hit each other, and I could be the collateral damage.
You were like a total precursor to the Real Housewives reunions because
Yeah,
they
I
can
guess
get a
so.
little
I really enjoyed those girls, though.
Yeah,
Besides
but the
that
smile
part.
on your face as it all broke out. You're like,
They were like, they were telling the truth to each other, these girls. They were
They
not
were
holding
truth
back.
tellers?
Yeah, they
That's
were.
what they
They
were?
didn't hold back.
And
Yeah.
Joy, you showed your legs. I hadn't seen your legs in like 30 years.
I have legs, I know.
I watched that show back in the day. I was definitely too young to
Is
watch
there a
it.
show that you would like to see a reunion of and host like that? Is there any show like that?
I like the Real Housewives of New York because I'm obsessed with Jenna Lyons.
Oh.
I would like them.
I would like Sunny to
them.
be a cast member on.
Wow.
I wouldn't mind
You'd
doing
be very
that.
good at that.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
oh, Sonny.
I would need a seance because I you know what I'd like to I'd like to host like dead bad boy musician reunion, right? Like Elvis and Johnny Cash and Prince. Give me that, you know?
Really?
Yes, that's like the one guy I wish I had seen in concert, Johnny Cash.
Oh, Johnny
Really?
Cash.
Yes, I'm obsessed with him.
I saw Prince in concert. It was
I
fantastic.
saw him at the Super Bowl.
Fantastic.
We all had his spirit in the last studio, remember?
We did.
What about you? Well, you love
Well, you
the
guys wouldn't
Housewives.
appreciate it. I'd do any Housewives franchise, and I would do the Vanderpump finale that we
love
never
that.
got because
Oh.
the last reunion we didn't know that this was the end of this cast, and I would love to bring them all back one time
I see.
to
Yeah.
let sparks fly.
Ava?
Yeah, that's a good.
Oh, so I have such a throwback. You can't do that on television, Nickelodeon.
Oh,
it's a
that's a
totally
great
different
one.
time. Thank you for the
is
three
that?
people that remember that.
that
This
one?
was just something I grew up on and watching it in the diner and the burger and like
People
all
have
the.
slime on them though.
Yeah, well, every time they said, I don't know, or was it me? Was it, I don't know, they got slimed. But also the show, do you guys remember Small Wonder?
No, they
Regina, do you remember?
they didn't have that in Nicaragua.
There was like just these nostalgic shows that you look back and you're like, oh my God, I almost forgot.
Like Boy Meets World.
Those
Yeah.
are the whitest people I've ever seen. Well, I've never seen.
Wait, Little Girl's a robot, though.
What about a View co-host
Oh my
reunion?
God.
I've never seen this.
They're like little white
That
bots.
looks handy.
Oh, wow.
Joy, would you host a View co-host
those real
reunion?
people?
I think we
The
did
little
have
one
one
is
once. There's going to come a day when we're going to bring back Star and Meredith and Debbie.
Did you see what Sarah said? One of those people it's not real.
The
It's
little
a robot.
girl. She's
Really?
a robot.
What do you mean?
That
Oh, with
little
the
girl's
bangs?
a robot.
Which one?
Yeah, it's
Why?
got to be the bangs, right?
Which one?
They're not
She's
real
not, well,
people.
Why?
Vicky is playing a robot.
I don't know who Vicky is. We've never watched the show. Which one is Vicky?
You need to catch up. The little girl in the dress in the front. They always center the
All right, we're
character
descending
first.
into chaos.
Sorry. They all look like robots.
So we have to go. And you can get behind the table wherever you stream your podcast or watch us on YouTube. Have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy the
Weekend View.